Hi, I'm Patricia. Before recorded history, humans knew singing as a deep source of power. Power to change, power to heal, power to be present with what is. Right here, right now, we are remembering the ancient gift of song. We're using modern tech to help us tap into resilience and capacity in chaotic, difficult times. Welcome to the 170th episode of A Breath of Song. I'm so glad you chose to do this today, which is extra special because Lyndsey Scott is joining us for a songwriter conversation, which last happened 100 episodes ago. Hi, Lyndsey. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be right here with you.
We are here to find more ways to sing songs that help us heal and adapt and grow. And to be honest, Lyndsey and I have been already song swapping before we even hit record. Each of our voices is exactly what's needed for this, finding the songs that matter to us. I'm coming to you straight from my home in what is now called Burlington, Vermont, on the unceded homelands of the Abenaki people on sand plains between the Winooski River and Lake Champlain. Lyndsey, tell us where you live.
I'm in a new place from where we talked last time. I'm in Iowa City. People really like the meme here. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. So I'm further west, but still very much in the heartlands. The hills are a little bit rollier here. There's still a lot of monocropped, but there's still the memory of the prairie beneath our feet and home to many, many indigenous people before this land was colonized, and I'll name the Iowa.
All of our voices will turn up as they are today, wherever we are, and no matter what, we can feel the connection to our breath and vibration in our body. Let's find how good it can feel to sing. So last week I shared Lyndsey's song, We Are the Door. You might remember that feeling of lift and freedom. Today, Lyndsey will be teaching us Over Under. We'll learn it slowly so it can settle inside you. You can begin to trust it as a resource. Let it move you into a state of flow. Then we get to enjoy a conversation with Lyndsey, and we'll close out with the song again at the end. You'll always be able to find this episode with full show notes, tons of links, and artwork in the library of songs at abreathofsong.com. Let's start with a good yawn stretch. Oh, feeling into your body wherever it is today at this moment. What wants to get longer? What wants to curl? Oh, what is crying for attention? What would prefer to be ignored when you get right down to it? And then let yourself start to make sound as you move, almost as if your body is humming, growling to you. Tap where you need to tap. Open what needs to open. Leave shuttered what needs to stay closed for the moment. And letting your breath come in, just noticing, because it's been coming in all this time, right? Notice how it expands your rib cage and release it. Whew. Notice it dropping into your belly, releasing. Whew. See if you can feel it all the way into your pelvis. And release. I'm going to invite you to sing back to me. Yow, yow, yow.
Meow, meow, meow.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Ew, ew, ew.
Ay, ay, ay.
A, A, A.
Sing, daka, daka, daka.
Sing.
Wow.
Wow.
I gotta say, it is so much more fun doing this with you singing it back to me. I could do this for a long time.
I know. I got
and
really
then we could
distracted.
swap.
Oh, presents.
I'm going to turn it over to you, Lyndsey, to share the song.
Thank you. Oh, it feels really good to be guided. Thank you for guiding us through some warm-up. That felt really good to my body. I'll speak the words before we sing them. I'll tell you the story later about where these words came from. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost, then found. I am the love that doesn't leave. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. We are remembering how to grieve because you are part of my family. Let's sing this into our hearts and bones. Let me feel the note. Where note? Oh, over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Sing that. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. All the way down. Over, under, lost then found. Lost then found. Over, under, all the way through. All the way through. Over, under, back to you. Back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Lost and found. Over, under, lost and found. I am the love that doesn't leave. Try that. I am the love that doesn't leave. Then we sing. We do this till we free us. Sing. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. Try that. Feel through the dark is how we see. We do this till we free us. We are remembering how to grieve. Try that. We are remembering how to grieve. We do this till we free us. 'Cause you are a part of my family. Try that. 'Cause you are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. I am the love that doesn't leave. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. We do this till we free us. We are remembering how to grieve. We do this till we free us. You are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. So I'll loop it. Hang with me, harmonize with me. Feel free just to join me on the claim inspired by Miriam Akama. We do this till we free us. I like to imagine root systems. I like to imagine our mushroom teachers. I like to imagine everything that's not afraid of the dark. I like to imagine a big black cat running through the underworld. Imagine with me. Yeah. We're gonna find where the loop started, and that's where we're gonna sing it. So bear with me in my technology. Here we go. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found. Over, under, all the way through. All the way through. Over, under, back doesn't leave.
We do this till we free us.
Feel through the dark is how we see.
We do this till we free us.
We are remembering how to grieve.
We do this till we free us.
You are a part of my family.
We do this till we free us. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found.
I am the love that doesn't leave.
We do this till we free us.
Feel through the dark is how we see.
We do this till we free us.
We are remembering how to grieve.
We do this till we free us.
You are a part of my family.
We do this till we free us.
'Cause you are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. We do this till we free us. We do this till we free us. We do this till we free us.
I just want to sing that for half an hour more. Is that okay with everybody?
Welcome to the trance meditation version of Breath of Song.
Yeah. Tell us more about this song and how it came to be and what people will find if they listen to your pre-recorded versions versus doing it here.
I met Professor Mary Cohen at a song circle in Iowa City when I was touring. And I had mentioned in the circle the work that I was doing with the Juvenile Detention Center. And so Mary came up to me afterwards and shared about really the family that she co-created for many years, 10 years or 11 years at Oakdale, which was a choir, half inside singers and half outside singers. That was really kind of everybody's favorite day of the week, both the incarcerated people and the people who were going inside, because of the miraculous love that was generated in that family of being, which was paused during COVID and then canceled by a new warden. And with that love energy that needed somewhere to go, Mary is experimenting with different pivots. And one was pairing outside musicians with inside musicians to become pen pals and collaborate on a song. And so after that circle, she asked me if I would want to be part of that. And I was like, absolutely. And she gave me the name and the number of Anthony Rhodd, who was incarcerated at Newton Correctional Facility in Iowa. And we began a correspondence. And for many months I was on the road. And so it was letters here, letters there. And I was sharing with him about tour, and he was sharing with me about life inside, and we were sharing about the music that we love. And we realized that we had a lot of dreams in common around the reformation of the carceral state and the abolition of prison. And so by the time we had our first phone call and he brought his guitar to the phones, this song was just ready to tumble loose. This prayer for abolition was just there. He played down, 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 the guitar line that you'll hear when you play the song on Spotify or Bandcamp. And it felt so intact to me. It felt like we were just reaching for the song that was in the place where songs live, and it tumbled out. As soon as he played that riff, these words came. And for me, they related to an energetic experience that I had when I was connecting with the shaman, and I was in that space of the other place we go, and I was having a really clear sense of an energy that moves over the barbed wire fence of prison and then underneath. And it was like weaving or winding, almost like tossing a ball of yarn over the barbed wire inside. And then it was like they were burrowing it into the soil, and we were getting it, and we were like weaving this thread or this line that was like a bright cord of energy. And it felt like the love of outsiders, of people outside prison who aren't forgetting about our family inside. And it felt like us being willing to receive all of the intelligence, all of the soul intelligence from the people inside who've decided not to let their souls die, because they have very, very strong souls. And so it's like this cosmic catch game. And then in that vision, that energy wound faster and faster and more intact and intense until, like you would rip off a Band-Aid, it ripped out the barbed wire fence. And it felt like some map for me in that dimension of the prayers that I'm here to hold. And the words were just absolutely already there, and the melody over, under, all the way through. And it was that prayer of that energy and where it can go to rip out the fences, which is a lot about a dream of not caging human beings, but it's also the way that I cage you when I judge you, the way that I cage me when I, put my shadow back there and exile that part of me. So it's about prison very specifically, but also the ways that we separate ourselves from each other. And the chorus came from abolitionist thought leader Maria Makaba's book titled "We Do This Till We Free Us." And each of those phrases just bloomed from the prayer of the song. "I am the love that doesn't leave" was a phrase that we had been sharing in a women's group that I was part of, about anchoring with the power of our womb. "Feel through the dark is how we see" is often how the underworld journey feels to me when I'm going back to reclaim parts of myself that I've, exiled, or parts that haven't been safe to face or grieve. We are remembering how to grieve. For me, grief together feels like the cutting edge of activism. We're going to keep replicating the patterns that we inherited unless we metabolize them. And you're part of my family, like it or not. Like, it's a tender moment for me to speak those words, because there's aspects of my family that feel challenging to reach for in this political moment. And so just really sitting with the tenderness and the grief and the longing of that. How do we stay family even when our family is doing things that hurt? How do we not give up on each other?
I just want to take a second to acknowledge that we are recording this just 2 days after the U.S. election. And the earliest that people will be able to listen is in early December, almost a month away. And then people may be listening to this a year out, 2 years out. I mean, one of the beautiful things about podcasts is that people can access them at any point in time. So I want to acknowledge both that you and I are both sitting with tenderness and vulnerability and questions about what this new shape is going to look like and what our roles will be in this shape. And what I want to be tuning into today, which is where you're already going with this song, is how we resource ourselves to live in hard times. Because yes, this election just happened and highlighted for us how deeply divided and unhappy we are in the U.S. Yeah, and that's not going to change in the next month or 2 months or 3 months. So I want to dig into these questions that are always applicable to us. How do we resource ourselves to keep showing up for the world as it is? How do we open ourselves to see it as clearly as we can, even when it doesn't look the way we want it to look? And I want to come back to this question of your work with abolition and the question of prisons and relationships with people who are incarcerated, and ask you what you have learned from people who are keeping their souls alive in a place I can't begin to imagine what it would be like to be incarcerated. Tell us more about what you've learned.
The thing that rises up first to say is this like rock solid commitment to gratitude no matter what. Not as a way to bypass or sugarcoat, but as a place to find home in and return to. So seeing clearly the brokenness and the devastation and returning to the miracle and then creating the miracle by choosing to see the miracle. So I have learned and am learning, no matter what's happening, I can practice turning my attention to the thing that is blessing me right now. Right now, it's like the way the pattern of the light is shining through the leaf or the general fall colors and just nourishing myself. And so I think that's something that I learned from communicating, like a voraciousness for beauty and then a blessing of any sort of beauty when it comes. For instance, yesterday I was on the phone with my collaborator for this song, Rhodd, who I call Tony. And earlier in the day, he had a blade pulled on him by someone who he works with and was bringing a lot of aggressive energy. And, you know, that's a nervous system shock, right? Yeah. And so what I learned from him is like a choice to move the energy. So there's a lot of energy moving around me. It's my responsibility to have healthy boundaries and then to move the energy that I don't want to reside in my being and then to return to gratitude. So I witnessed him as he moved the energy of aggression, of violence, of everything that was involved in that moment. And then he started a game of, do you know what I really love about my life? And we just played that game until there was a shift back to gratitude. And then later on in the day, I played that game with friends who are also feeling really overwhelmed. So not as a way to bypass, and certainly creating spaces to grieve and spaces to rage, to like be really honest with the energy that's here, to be very sovereign and in our agency with our ability to move the energy, and then to return to the miracle as the home base where we choose to live our lives. And so I would say that's something that I have learned from this collaboration and that I am learning deeply.
Yeah. I wonder if you would talk a little bit more about how you perceive energy. And, you know, when you talk about sovereign energy.
I'm hearing like Alabama Shakes, sound and color. It's such a big, broad, beautiful question that I can't answer. So I'll just say words that come. Maybe like a giant dance that we're all in all the time. Like maybe we all have different awareness to different energy. I'm most connected to plant energy and to song energy. And some people will be like stones. Some people will be like numbers. And I think we all tune into a particular like frequency or way of being inside this dance. And then there's this fun tension between, you know, I am sovereign and I'm responsible for my choices and the energy of my life. And then I'm dancing with you. And sometimes I'll step on your feet and sometimes you'll step on my feet. And so we're both learning how to be a sovereign I, and then, you know, birds murmurating in a flock that's so much bigger than we can fathom.
I think the reason I wanted to ask you this energy question is because since we've talked last 100 episodes ago, since we last talked on A Breath of Song, you have been through so much change, so much creation, so much shift. And I'm wondering if you would maybe throw out some of the shifts so people know what I'm talking about. Name some of the changes that have felt biggest to you. And tell us a little bit about how you've resourced yourself through this.
I like to slow down time when I'm with you because it feels like I'm in a candy shop of like your questions are my most favorite dessert. And so I just like this hour to last such a long time because your questions are so fun for me to receive. I mean, the one shift was learning to take songs that swim through me and make the form of an album, and learn how fun it is to interact with people around the song codes and the stories that are related, and getting to tour to do that. So, in this framework, it doesn't feel like performing where there's an audience and a performer. It's a circle. So we're singing the songs, but then I'm getting to bring my reasons why and the life that shaped the songs into our beingness as a circle. And it was so satisfying for however many of those years to be meeting all of our song cousins and really feeling the movement that we're part of and how it's growing, and all the different personalities and flavors of songs and flavors of circles, choirs and co-led circles and mutual aid networks that are growing from this way of being. Getting to put my body in those places to get a sense of what the community life is around these different circles was so fun. Getting to have so many reps, because I came of age as a song leader during COVID, doing Zoom groups around different topics, around womb work, around race work through song. But it was all more about a song as a meditation instead of a sound experience. And so I got to build in more experience of myself as a conductor of sound energy. And that was so fun. And my world really expanded from sort of a 10-year hermit cave decade in Rantoul to this a wave of connection and creativity and collaboration and meeting people. And that led me to the moment where I am now, teaching community singing as collective power at the University of Iowa, and being funded to experiment with song as a technology for belonging within the community of Iowa City. So very different locus from song community, which often happens at intentional communities and earth churches, to an academic environment.
Yeah. So that involved a move. So how do you make a home for yourself when you come into a new community?
Definitely first feeling where I'm at on land. I brought some water from the Middle Fork River, which is my home place, where the Middle Fork and the Sugar Creek meet in Illinois, to the Iowa River, which is just right over there, and brought my greetings to this water, and exploring the parks and the trails, and getting on my bike and getting on my feet and really greeting the land and feeling connected to the land is a big way that I explore where I am at and home. And I've always had a thing for maps. I used to be a visual artist, and when I lived in Barcelona, I hung a map of Barcelona above my bed, and every day when I came home, I would highlight the streets I walked down. And so I have that map right over here of Iowa City. I printed a 4-foot map, and I'm marking the streets that I'm walking, and then I make a map of people that I'm meeting and through whom I meet them. So when I come home from a song circle, I'll add Jenny Rose and John to the circle, and I can map the connections that I'm making and who's introducing me, and all the while really feeling for a frequency of home, which feels like, resident kin who are working for liberation in the ways that they are. And so I'm showing up a lot to farms and to sings and to theater shows and to the places where I imagine the people who are my friends and teachers and loves are hanging out. And yeah, just having a lot of fun meeting the amazing people who are here.
What do you hope that your students are going to take away from their work with you?
Oh, I like them so much. I'm almost tearing up. It's such a beautiful circle of 10 students, from freshmen, like, what am I walking into? This is very different than the culture I know, to PhD students who are doing amazing research, which is so coherent with our goals. And so what they walk away with will be different according to their goals. Some of them are performance majors, violin, organ. Some of them are teaching choir directors how to teach choir directors. And I think the aha for most of them is what happens in a circle shape. Because so often in an academic setting, the teacher is at the front of the room. And we've been studying a lot what it takes to hold a circle, what a circle is, dynamics of a circle, and how connection, our level of connection and trust really shapes what we can create together. So it's not off topic to have check-ins. It's actually supporting the way that we make music together, the way that we care for each other. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping that they take away a sense of confidence in being able to create intentional connections, whether it's a circle with their friends or whether they're like one of the choir people is really excited to bring some of the things we're studying in community singing into the way that she forms choirs. Mm-hmm. And we're also centering song as a doorway for the reclamation of ritual practice. We had a module where we were exploring song as technology for greeting land, song as technology for belonging, song as technology for grieving, song as technology for moving energy in our bodies. And we've been reading some of Prentice Himpel's book, What It Takes to Heal, and remembering ritual as a somatic practice that creates sort of a cairn for us as a community, like a pile of stones that we can relate to as we are changing, as we are finding our compass. And they just did projects about where in history community singing has coalesced liberation movements. And as we softened our eyes and looked at what we had learned together from each student's presentation, we see the reclamation of ritual. We see the reclamation of coming together intentionally to remind ourselves who we are and the story that we want to tell, the story that we want to co-create, especially when it counters the dominant narrative.
Yeah. Thinking about the dominant narrative, you started a recent Patreon email with the Frank Zappa quote, "Without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible." So tell me why this quote matters to you.
I'm trying to find my way back to my inner weirdo. Uh-huh. She got big airtime in my 20s, and then in my 30s I was focused a lot on healing modalities, and I miss the eccentricity and the playing beyond known territory and the childlike free spirit and the edgy freak flag waver of my inner weirdo. And I know how much I'm moved when I see those things alive in you and you and you, the places in ourselves that are not as welcomed by our dominant culture are often the places of our greatest genius. And I want to welcome those places back in myself. I know how fed I am when I see them in you.
Tell me what you most recently remember doing where you had a moment of, oh, this is me being weird. Oh, I love it.
Well, this is a small one, but my students, our election ritual was multi-part and more elaborate that I'll speak, but I'll speak one part that we did was to paint a sign called Singing for Sanity that will welcome our community to a sing in the commons of the music building tomorrow. And they wanted the energy of rest and community care to be guiding our time together. So we brought snacks and sang together and painted. And when I got home and looked at the painting, I just wanted to squirt like a whole tube of 3 colors of pink on it, which to me was like my little kid self, but they were also worms. And then I checked with my students today. They're like, yeah, totally. So we're going to paint a big smiley face worm at the bottom, which is like a welcome for all the work that worms do, turning our shit to soil we can use. And so just like little things like that, like trusting an impulse of trusting the kid self, trusting the like slightly stranger edges. That would be a small example, but that's the one that's fresh today because I'm about to go paint that worm.
Beautiful. You talked about what kind of energy your students wanted to bring to the evening of painting. Did you ask them explicitly, what kind of energy do you want to bring?
Yeah, the class before the class we held during election, I knew I wanted to create a space where we were being intentional together, like a ritual space. We've done that a couple times in class to model and learn what ritual is. And the week prior, we had been reading chapter 4 of Francis Weller's Wild Edge of Sorrow, where he shares more about ritual. And so we were looking at how ritual can help us to anchor a particular energy or to shift. And I was really tracking how much anxiety some of my students have around the political climate. And I wanted to be really caring with the level of capacity and how much we wanted to step up and cast spells or do more grief work or more depth work, or if we just wanted to really be gentle. And so it was important for me to track their level of fire and track their level of capacity. And so I asked, and that was what we came up with from a quick conversation.
I love that idea of thinking about the kind of energy you're experiencing and where you'd like to go with it, and being sort of intentional about, well, if I do this, if I go out walking fast, my energy is likely to shift in this kind of way. And if I go out walking with my camera on close-up view and I make it maybe 10 feet from my house and that's my whole walk because I've been taking pictures the whole way, really seeing things up close, that's going to shift my energy in another way. Or just bringing awareness around how energy is moving through us. That feels to me like a really solid capacity building skill.
And it's really fun to be making the connection. Like, this is what happened in class today around the me and the we. So if I'm responsible in this vessel to notice, like, where am I off balance? Where am I in balance? Like, if love is the center line, and what will help bring me back to love? Do I need a fast walk to zhuzh up my energy? Do I need to really slow it down and get, what is needed, body, mind, spirit, to open this channel towards love? And today we were reading from Liz Rogg's new book, Songcatcher's Toolkit, and
which is
using
on
that
order.
as
I've got it on order. It hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah. It's so good. And it really slows down so many of the mechanics of what we're holding and tracking when we're leading a song in a group. Mm-hmm. From like my turn, your turn, to more of the circle energetics. And that was, they were listening me into what felt like new understanding, or deeper understanding of how the practice of leading song is tending our energetic body. And do we want to be moving more into our fierceness, into big energy? Do we want to be moving more into calm or quiet, or I am me, we're all together, but I'm really in myself? And how this practice is sensing how the privilege of getting to guide a circle or conduct a circle or invite a song is getting to co-create the story of who we are and what we know about ourselves. Like, it was such a privilege to get so many reps in leading a song through touring, but I was also aware that it was like a 2 or 3 hour experience with new people. And so I really felt the prayer shift to, wow, I want to go deeper with fewer. I want to know what's down deeper when we are listening to what's leading through we. And really, how do we create spaces for emergence? And how do we create relationships that are a laboratory to work the things that we don't get to work when we're always meeting strangers? The energies of shadow and conflict and grief, things that take more intimacy and more commitment. Mm-hmm. And then how does song want to work us in that place? So I feel like I know that this being is a vessel, and I've done a lot of healing to know who I am and what songs come through me. And now I feel more excited to be leaning into intimate partnerships in love, in song, in co-creativity, so that we can be practicing village and inner being in ways that I know I'm deeply hungry for. And last night we got together to resource each other as we were taking in the election results with the Earthkeeper Wisdom School cohort that I am a priestess of, with Carolyn Griffith. And we created that space. We opened the space to feel for the songs and the prayers and the poems and the longings and the energies that needed witness. And what happened was so nourishing to enter that space without a plan of what was next and next and next and next and next, but to enter with listening and listening together with people who are deeply in their practice.
Yeah. So when you are participating in a group that someone else is leading or someone else is bringing something to you, can you talk to me about maybe one or two things that you've really learned from another leader recently, relatively recently? And that leader doesn't have to be like Carolyn, your co-leader, or it doesn't have to be anybody who's an official leader, but somebody who became a leader teacher for you in a moment.
Yeah, I love being in other people's facilitation. I think as a facilitator, it's just such a gift to get to rest back and feel held. I think the thing that always touches me the most is when I feel someone like deeply connected to their truth through their heart. And two moments that come to mind. Rebecca Bennett is the root teacher of Empower Institute, a Black feminist spiritual cohort in St. Louis, Missouri. That's also the home base of the Black Healers Collective. And Rebecca is gracing us with her wisdom in the Earthkeeper Wisdom School. And the way that she channels spirit, those are words I use, in teaching, it just pierced me, like gave me a new embodied sense of truth. So I was deeply impacted by Rebecca's willingness to listen in the moment to what was coming through her for our group, for the edification and the learning of our group. And another moment, one of my students is from Ghana, and when we were presenting, I called them this story presentations, like this story that we're telling. It's not history because we're telling it, right? And so Godwin taught us about the role of song in apartheid South Africa and allowed us into his heart and into his story as he was teaching Senzanina in a way that none of us will ever, ever forget. Like the truth of what was happening during apartheid and the way that song was ministering and the experience of the violence of racism was so present to us, and he was so generous in lending his whole being to giving us that teaching. So I guess both of those things have in common transmission. When someone is a vessel and open to transmit something from their full presence, from their full lived experience that exactly meets the moment. That impacts me so deeply.
It also has a lot of trust. They have to be trusting themselves to be there and to be present, and trusting the group to hold them in a way, or trusting the group to, they don't have to be trusting the group, I guess.
Well, one of the things that I love to say is from theologian Nellie Morton is that we listen each other into speech.
Yeah.
There's a way that the quality of our listeners calls things through us in a way that meets the moment freshly. And so maybe there's an attuning to what wants to come through and attuning to the presence and the capacity of the circle.
Yeah. I notice that over and over in my flow singing group, that there is something about the quality of attention when a group is genuinely able to show up and listen to each other, that lets people hear things in themselves that maybe they haven't heard before.
Which is so precious.
Yeah.
To be in discovery, to be safe enough to be in discovery.
I've been thinking a lot about safety and the fact that safety is never guaranteed. And yet it is one of our prime drivers as human beings. From when we are babies, we're always seeking safety. And we're always seeking exploration and the risk that goes with it, right? We're always seeking both. And nobody can guarantee us safety, no matter how much they may want to. And I've been thinking about, what do we do with that? With that fact that there's a strong desire for safety and that it can't be promised. And I'm thinking that you've done a lot of reclamation and healing work in your own life, including around safety, around having been attacked personally, the trauma that followed, mending with your family of origin, the intentional work that you've done on dismantling white supremacy and patriarchy, things that people raised in the dominant culture of the USA have internalized. Do you feel like there are skills that you've built that have helped you move through this reclamation and healing work? And do you feel like we actually get better at it?
I think anything that we practice becomes more familiar and we know the terrain. I think about, like, the image that's coming to mind is this drawing when I did my yoga training at Kripalu. It was like a drawing of the cycle of transformation. And it's like, oop, new challenge. Chaos. Ooh, fertile void. Ooh, grow again. And just to know, like, this is the spiral, this is the map, it never, ever ends. So I think a lot of aging, oh my God, it's so fun to age. Love my little gray hairs. And it's just like another lap around. It's just like, oh, this is so normal. This grief and the way that it gives rise to greater love, this disintegration of this project and how it creates surrender and vulnerability that opens to the new thing, the like feeling of overwhelming fear that molts and creates like sacred trust, like just feeling the cycles, feeling my own cycle of my womb, connecting to the cycle of the moon, connecting to the cycle of seasons, and just to feel the playfulness and generosity of cyclical wisdom, and to feel compelled by that and part of that and guided by that and trusting that, I think is a lot of where my radical trust comes from. Like, I really trust life. And it doesn't mean it will be easy or pretty or fun or make sense or be fair. But I trust the intelligence that I'm a tiny, tiny, tiny part of this whole thing. And so I think the skill set of practicing trust in my own life and then for my beloveds, and just witnessing, oh yeah, you got totally constricted on Thursday, and then Friday you're on top of the world and having such an opening. And the more I can hold that for myself and for you, the more I trust these cycles that are moving through all of us.
It's actually one of the things I've been thinking about our election and about the time that we're in, that the world is in, of leaning right, leaning towards choices that privilege a few, as opposed to opening up space for more people. I've been thinking about how historically people have cycled.
What my brain does is like go to all the songs that connect from that, like there's a little spiral in my mind, and then it's like the songs that we sing from that. That's how my brain goes.
Sweet. Since we last talked, you have released 2 albums, Well Held, and then just this summer, Prodigal Daughter. What a huge bloom. What an outflow. What a pouring out is what it looks like to me. Is that how you've experienced it?
It's so fun. It was so unexpected to create albums. I don't think of myself as a performing artist or a recording artist. And so the idea came from Lisa Littlebird inviting me to make like sturdier recordings that she could share with people that she sings with. And I don't have any real garage band games, so I reached out to a friend and had so much fun. Like, when you just, my energy is so expanded. I was like, I think this will be cheaper than therapy. Let's just set up like a weekly recording date and it'll be so fun. And so that was how Well Held was born. And it was such a gift to me, that part of my Enneagram 4 artist self that feels like nobody wants what I have, or just the sort of like jaded or like little, gremlin inside of me that has doubted that I know how to connect or bring things of value. It was so healing to share songs that then became part of people's spiritual lives. And then I get little texts or little messages back of when and how they're living in their world. And that act of sharing and then feeling the connection really healed so much in me about not knowing how to make the things that are happening inside me take a form that I can share. And I think it's just also developmentally kind of where I am from being like all big ideas to be like, great, take one and do a thing with it. And just to learn what it takes to tend a form in this world of like, yeah, get it mastered and make a website and the things that we do to follow through in interacting with the world. It's also brought such a sweet sense of kinship of how connected we are in our spiritual journeys and the way they unfold and the questions that we're holding. Well Held very much felt like a relationship to the healing cocoon that I had been in and the sacred trust that required, and learning to anchor with the elemental energies and all that's here to support us. And Prodigal Daughter felt like a reclamation of my wild feminine, or I'm working towards that. I feel like sometimes the albums like swing a door open and then I still have to walk through them.
Beautiful. I am in the middle. You mentioned Kripalu yoga teacher training. I'm in the middle of a 200-hour. I've just started. I mean, I'm a little bit in to a 200-hour yoga teacher training at a local studio, which is one of the benefits of living here as opposed to where I used to live. And I am wondering how you've experienced your practice of yoga and singing as connected.
Can you answer the question first? I want to hear it from you if you want to share, because you're so much closer to the teaching and the practice of yoga. I love the question, and I'm curious what's alive in you around it.
Oh, I would say body awareness is the awareness and the attention and the noticing of the body. But for me, a lot of why I'm doing this particular yoga teacher training is because I highly respect the leaders of it and the way that they're gathering people. And where I live right now, there are not other people gathering singers in the same way. There are not other song circles. So I was looking for a place I could go to extend and expand my practice of gathering people and think about what kind of language is welcoming to a wider group of people. How do you present options in a way that if somebody chooses one option or the other option, they don't feel like, oh, well, I had to choose the easy one because my body doesn't fold that way, so I'm not as good. How do you this is what is interesting, fascinating to me right now in the yoga teacher training, is how do you use language that really opens doors to people to notice where they are and accept where they are and take delight in where they are and curiosity in what's next. And that's the kind of thing I want to bring into my singing circles as well. So yeah.
I love it. Can deeply relate to where your questions are and what you're noticing. It's satisfying to think about all the overlaps and how in both spaces we're humans being together intentionally in our bodies, and there's a way that the beingness on that level, it feels so different than the way my body feels when I'm at the grocery store with a bunch of people. It's like we're moving through an arc of energy together and we're all deeply relating through our breath. So I think there's a parallel there for me. I think my work as a yoga teacher gave me more like flexibility as a song leader to command bodies. Like now we're going to come into harmony nugget. Now we're going to expand, take up the whole space. Now let's make a circle around these people. See if you want to sing with your back to another person, back to back. Like, I think feeling how asana creates shift in body sometimes lends some creativity to my invitations as a song leader. And even just the idea of asana, like, okay, do you want to do a forward fold, or do you want to do, a back bend? Like, what part of your being wants more energy, more blood flow, more openness? And I feel like in some ways when we're DJing a song circle, we're motivated by similar things. Like, are we going to be moving some blood flow to our collective grieving or to our collective like fierceness? Where do we want to move this? But yeah, it's very satisfying to think about the play between the two.
As you were talking, I was thinking another connection that I didn't expect that I love is the idea of sthira sukha, this idea of stability and ease, that you're looking for both of those things in each of the shapes that you make in yoga. You're looking for what feels rooted and stable and strong, and what feels flowing and easy and soft. And the same thing is true when you're working with somebody and their voice. There's both the strength and the energy, and what is it that's feeding your voice and energizing your voice, and the softness and the release. Where is it that you can feel, especially in your throat, just a release? You don't have to hold. And how does that feel to have both of those things true at once? Sort of fire in your belly, maybe some fire in your lips and your tongue and your teeth, noticing these things coming through, but a softness and a gentleness as well, a release and an ease. Yeah.
It feels good to feel those things with you. Aliveness without rigidity.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there something that you wish I had asked you?
No, I realize I haven't yet spoken the names of my teachers, which always feels good to me to do. I guess I have a little bit sideways, but I'll just speak the names of those I love who are here with me, through me. I'm so grateful to Liz Rhodd for opening this path of song leading to me, and Lisa Littlebird for casting into my imagination what it is as a movement, that we're part of a movement. I'm really grateful for Barbara McAfee to show me more about how the voice is the muscle of the soul. I'm so grateful to Lawrence Cole for inviting me into my first grief ritual and teaching me about the relationship from song to grief. I'm so grateful to my sister kin, Carolyn Griffith, who's a total earth mystic and invites me to be listening for the way song wants to be courting and blessing and speaking from into the earth. And many more, but it just feels good to practice knowing that I am because we are.
I might name the fact that I think of you as one of my teachers in this space. You came shortly after we had just moved to Burlington, and you were beginning to tour, and you came and to me, even though I said to you, I don't have a song circle yet. I don't know anybody here. I felt like I had nothing to offer you, and you came anyway. That was an enormous gift that you gave me.
And a super fun slumber party, as I remember.
Yeah, it was fun.
I remember sitting on your couch and improvising, which is a total gift you gave me. That's a skill set that's really new for me and that I want so much more of. And yeah, I felt so rich in your presence.
I'm going to go into lightning round questions. Are you ready? She sits up straight.
Sitting up straight.
What is an album that was really important to you?
I think the first album that made me cry and feel the impact of music was Joanna Newsom, Milk-Eyed Mender. Was a real, like, tender. And Meredith Monk just as a being. Whew, big lightning rod for me.
All right. What is your favorite soup?
The one I make the most often was inspired by the first time I received our Thanksgiving turkey carcass to make broth from is like turkey chili with sweet potato and black beans, lime, cilantro.
Do you know what I love is I think these answers are different than 100 episodes ago. What is a sound that you feel strongly about?
I really love rain on the roof. I'm in a new house and it's got really great. We've had a lot of rain in the last week. So safe.
Yeah. Who is an artist you wish more people listened to?
Ooh, there's a song catcher in our Earthkeepers cohort whose SoundCloud I'm on every day these days named Emma Koppel. Do you know Emma yet?
No.
Emma, his last name is Koeppel. And I'm being super nourished by Emma's songs and prayers.
I'll go listen to her this afternoon.
And pronouns she, they.
They.
To the best of my knowing.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Both.
Great. Before we close, tell us what you're excited about now, where we can find you, where we can follow your projects.
Definitely rooting down more into village questions here. And so most of my song leading now is on the ground. I might do one group online over the winter to explore Prodigal Daughter more deeply. But mostly I'm singing here. And so you can find me if you're in Iowa City. I sure wish you would. All my music is streaming where you stream. If you want to support me for it, you can purchase it on Bandcamp. If you'd like to receive it on Spotify or YouTube, it's there. All of these things are on my website, which is lyndseyscott.earth. And the 2 yearlong cohorts that I'm part of are Earthkeeper Wisdom School and Embodying Racial Justice, Opening to Freedom, a politicized somatics yearlong cohort study. And I'd also love to lift up my collaborator for Over Under, Rhodd. Anthony Rhodd is a beautiful writer and storyteller. And our next collaboration was to create a Substack for him, which you can also find, I think, anthonyrhodd.substack or whatever it is. And beautiful inquiries about freedom and showing us more into life inside and what it is to keep your soul alive inside.
Yeah. I've read some of his writings there. They're, as you say, beautiful writings. Yeah. A huge thank you to you, Lyndsey, for coming on A Breath of Song. A huge thank you to you, our listeners. I'm so glad you're singing with us. You can visit abreathofsong.com to see show notes with links, lyrics, Patty Piotrowski's glorious artwork. You can sign up to get artwork and music in your mailbox. Beautiful is that. And be one of the generous people who put something in the gratitude jar to help cover costs. I'm going to just back up a second and say that I am on Lyndsey Scott's Patreon, and she sends out the best newsletters ever. I see one come into my mailbox. I'm like, okay, got to set aside a little bit of time for that so that I can click on all the links and follow everything. And it feels like such a genuine shot. You know, when you were saying one of the things you love is people showing up in their whole truth. You have a gift of being able to communicate through your newsletters that sense of you. Really appreciate it.
Takes one to know one.
Oh.
I feel the same way with The Breath of Song.
Lyndsey's is a little weirder. I may get there, though. I may get there. We'll see.
Let's keep bringing each other along.
Before Patty or I is paid, 25% is donated to the Jazz Foundation of America, which directly supports jazz, blues, and roots musicians in need. The skill and the artistry of these musicians has directly shaped most of the music I share on this podcast, yet historically, they have been inadequately recognized and unfairly recompensed. So that's what prompted me to search out this particular group for us to support. Let's sing Over Under again to help it sink in more deeply.
And as we do, let's see if I can find this sort of hum/scream that came alive when I recorded it that you can listen to in the sax line. When you play the recording, you'll hear Tony's voice as well as Louis Pappas saxophone. And I told my producer friend that I was really wanting to give voice to the ache when we want to create political change, when we want to be part of the more beautiful world we know is possible when we don't consent to so many of the ways that the world is happening. There's an ache for me that forms as just a wanting to call out. And I wanted that energy somehow to be in the recording of, I heard Pat McCabe, Indigenous teacher, Woman Stands Shining, speak about the importance of non-consent, of just saying, I do not consent to this, just as a way of reclaiming our power and opening the door for the actions that are ours to take, to pivot from feeling powerless. And so to encourage my own being on this day to find agency, and might give that longing. You'll hear that kind of, it's a little bit guttural, it's a little visceral. Like I think when we sing, definitely when we're grieving together at the grief ritual, there's sounds that come out of our bodies that are more mammalian and maybe a little bit unnerving than beautiful. And these sounds have a place in the way that we sing, in the way that we move with each other. So you'll hear me explore with that. Let's take a big breath in and shift from talking to singing. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found. I am the low that doesn't leave. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. We do this till we free us. We are remembering how to grieve. We do this till we free us. 'Cause you are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, all the way down. Over, under, lost and found. Over, under, all the way through. Over, under, back to you. Over, under, do this till we free us. You are a part of my family. Do this till we free us. I am the love that doesn't leave. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. We do this till we free us. We are remembering how to grieve. We do this till we free us. 'Cause you are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. I am the love that doesn't leave. We do this till we free us. Feel through the dark is how we see. We do this till we free us. We are remembering how to grieve. We do this till we free us. 'Cause you are a part of my family. We do this till we free us. We do this till we free us.
We do this till we free us.
Lyndsey, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you, listeners and singers, for joining Lyndsey and me today for a breath of song. I'm grateful that you're taking care of yourself and listening to your voice. I believe making a better world starts with how we tune in to ourselves and each other, which is what we just did. So, yay us!
Yay us! Down there in the root today. Yay us!
If you're liking this podcast, please share with a friend. Next time we'll plant another song. Until then, be well.
Thank you so much for all that you gift us by creating this immense library of songs and stories. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome.